come to find. You come to search. But you won't find the way. A pity. I cannot help you. I only give the questions. I do not answer them. Brachus has willed it. Trompe-l'oeil must abide. You have met the unfortunate guardian of this vault. You are kinder to him than fate has been. Do you wish to move forward? Listen closely and make your attempt. Brachus is a bloody, rotten, thieving, very, very awful fellow. Some even call him a cur. A cur is... You know nothing. Guess again. Listen closely. Brachus is a bloody, rotten, thieving, very, very awful fellow. Some even call him a cur. A cur is... Either you're very good at guessing, or the slightest bit clever. Let's find out for certain. Listen closely, and make your attempt. Source is a scourge, a devil, a misery, a blight, a hex, a curse. And yet... the cure is... Perhaps you're not totally incapable after all. Or maybe Trompe-l'oeil told you the answers. Is that it? Is he hoping you'll... It doesn't matter in any case. The path is open. Go freely. I know little, but you have proven yourself a knowing traveler. I will answer what I can.
You see yourself in the mirror. It's quite a sight.
Open your eyes. Time to die. nearby.
That's plenty.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing softly. From within, you can almost hear the whisper of a voice. You see, or rather, you feel, a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air. Pine needles brush your cheek. Your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Bracca's wreck. The scene twists again. Now Bracca stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. Your hand falls from the jar and grips the pillar as you try to calm your ragged breathing. The necromancer's memories fade to black, but the feelings remain.
They may have been a necromancer, but they did not feel evil. Misguided, perhaps.
The jar on the plinth before you seems ancient, But the pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire turning their backs on you. As you roam, the human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms. He promises power, for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you a crown, but all you got was shackles. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to a tower. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your bones tingling. In the back of your... The long-dead lizard's visions fade.
I can't help but sympathize with him. He just wanted to go home.
This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the distant sound of laughter. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter. All bar the zombies, who are slavishly serving food and drink. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. You can't make out her word. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path, but is grabbed before she can escape. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Brachus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still The vision fades.
She must have been acting against Brachus Rex, for him to have come for her like that.
I'm sorry.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Brachus bound me here to protect his vault. He has my soul in that jar just there. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. His favor was intoxicating. Really?
He drops to his knees before you and grabs onto your feet with both hands.
Thank you.
The jar before you may have looked opulent once, but no longer. The soul jar rocks slightly, light flashing from underneath its lid. On its rim, you can just barely make out the name Gratiana. As soon as you touch the jar's cracked surface, you see a vision of splendor, silks, fine food, and decadent lechery. The vision shifts. You see burning villages, slaughtered women and children. You see her, purging wand in hand, standing amongst it all. She throws her head back and laughter echoes in your skull. A shadow falls across her, and you see a large, weeping face. She reaches out as if to comfort, but Brachus drags her back. As you pull your hand away, you can feel a deep, longing sadness in your soul. Is it regret, or just sadness for a life that used to be? The terrible vision fades.
While she lived a selfish life, She seems to have repented. She should be forgiven.
The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or...
I pray for these sorcerers. Give them your protection as they search for the soul jars in your name. And? Have you found them? Did you bring the soul jars? You have? That's wonderful, of course. But tell me, did you... They are relics of great power. Please, you must give them to me. If I can make an offering of them to Armadia, it could aid your cause. There's no time for questions. Just give me the jars. You don't understand. You couldn't understand. Please, I need it. Please give it to me. Hiding. Impatient.
She reaches up and tears off her mask, revealing a wet skull, stained by centuries. You stare into the empty eye sockets of the undead creature before you.
You dare speak to me of hiding? You dare speak to me of patience? I have waited centuries, watching lives come and go, while my soul lies locked in a cage. I have been patient enough. Return to me what is mine. Return my soul, you insolent pup! Craven wretch! Do your duty, and return the jars to me.
Did you see? Gareth's back. He's here to take us home.
The jar sits still. It seems inert. As the power starts to seep into your body, you feel a force pulling away from you. For a brief moment, you're looking through someone else's eyes. You see a giant statue's head and a gentle pool. In the vision, you fall to your knees, screaming silently as you feel your soul drain away. The last of the magic seeps out of the jar and rushes inside you. Its power thrums through you, filling your body with source.
Keep your wits about you, Leia. We need you.
Thank you, Gareth. We can't wait to go home. Did you see? Gareth's back. He's here to take us home.
It's peaceful here, but I'll not be sorry to see the back of these swamps. Divine blessings. It's good to see Gareth safe and sound.
You've done well so far. Keep it up!
Yes, sir.
Did you see?
Thank you, sir.
Gareth's back. He's here to take us home.
Take heart, lady.
The goddess's tears still stream freely.
Thank you, Gareth. We can't wait to go home.
The jar seems quieter now. The jar shatters like glass, but a spirit rises from the shards like smoke. The ghost of a dwarf bedecked in necromancer robe.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. My death waits.
The pictograms on the jar stand fixed and still. You see a shape emerge from the ruins of the broken jar. A lizard in the finest necromancer robes. It...
Farewell to flesh.
You've done well so far. Keep it up!
It's my honor to serve you, sir.
Gareth's back. He's here to take us home.
You didn't lose your head. Well done, my
It's
lad.
peaceful here, but I'll not be sorry to
Glad
see
you're
the
back,
back of these
sir.
swamps.
We all are.
You didn't lose your head. Well done, my lad.
I'm glad you're back, sir. We all are.
Soon we'll be done here. Proud to have you at my side.
It's my honor to serve you, sir.
It's peaceful here, but I'll not be sorry to see the back of these
Gareth's
swamps.
back. He's here to take us home.
It's been cursed.
You've done well so far. Keep it up!
Your teaching served me well, sir.
Divine blessings. It's good to see Gareth safe and sound.
Did you see? Gareth's back.
We can finally get out of here, now that Gareth's returned.
Divine blessings. It's good to see Gareth safe and sound.
Hold it together, lad. You're doing great.
You're in luck, Sorcerer. Gareth's back. Vyushin's locked. Stop fidgeting, lad.
What word do you bring? I had no doubt. You bring me hope, Sorcerer. I'll gather the other Seekers and travel to shore. Meet us there as soon as you can.
Gareth's voice echoes throughout the Enclave with such...
We move, Seekers. Now is the time to resist.
The others have gone to get us a ship out of here.
Oh, you found the supplies. The Magisters aren't as thorough as I presumed.
Come, Lucian
Gareth glances over his shoulder, and his voice tightens.
The Shriekers keep watch, and their gaze isn't the only one we should avoid. The murderer is here, Alexander. If I didn't know better, I'd think the god...
He reaches for the wand, but pulls back before touching it.
Would that I could aim this wand at Alexander myself, to bleach his soul and sear his skin. No. This thing was birthed from a wicked era. What would Lucian say, seeing me confront one evil with another? Go. Take down... icy flurries and the air thrums? Could it be Spain? Look!
Praise be! You have silenced the shriekers and cleared our way. Yet it seems I'm in need of you again, my friend. You have any more miracles in you? We've got a boat ready to row to the Lady Vengeance. But if Alexander sees us bobbing among the waves, we'll be shark chow. So we split up. I take the Seekers to the Lady Vengeance. You go to the ruins and keep Alexander busy. He'll be expecting a breeze. Show him that you're a hurricane. Are you ready? We've got right on our side. A greater ally than any sulking Geist or any whinging Magister.
As he calculates the consequences, assessing this new world.
Seekers, we move. You are Lucian.
Stay ready. There you are, the escapee. I feared you'd made it to Reaper's Coast by now. Anyway, you're here now. You know, Dallas and Friedemann warned me about you. God welcome. I'm afraid your journey ends here. You would only bring ruin to Rivellon. If anyone is going to become the next Divine, it will be me. Please, don't make this harder than it has to be. It's not your fault, but still you stand in the way of peace. This must be the end of your journey, for the salvation of all Rivellon. You stand no chance, but I admire your resilience. Give it your best shot. now? Your foul sorcery will be the death of us all.
Scarlet Lucian, isn't it? Murderers!
Well, well, quite the mess you've made here. I'm Malady, and...
She steps forward, grabs you behind the neck with alarming strength, and pulls you close. She sniffs twice, her nose at your...
Undead and God-woken. Well, now I've seen everything. Do promise me you'll try. You're a God-woken after all. The reason some of us get out of bed each morning. What do you make of that? Of course not. Not you. Well, first things first. Dallas's little necklaces are lovely, but not quite in vogue where we're going. There. Better.
She peers at you closely.
Tell me, which of those little gods did you meet? And what did they teach you?
Her eyes go...
Go on, then. Show me what she taught you. Ah, like that.
She takes you by the shoulders and gestures for you to do the same to her. She closes her eyes, and a warm, soothing sensation runs from her hands into your body.
Perfect. You really are God-woken. I'm... happy. Come then, we set sail, your destiny awaits, etc. You'll have to ask the Meister about that. She's done.
Melody beckons you to the boat.
After you, darling. As you wish. I'd like... Let's go.
Malady grabs the vessel with 2 hands and pushes it into the water. She hops on.
God-woken.
Salty water wets the gauze in which you're wrapped. The bright sunlight seeps into your bones. The boat...
Tired but victorious, the party made for the Lady Vengeance. The horrors of Fort Joy behind them. They arrived as sorcerers. They left as God-woken. The fate of this God-forsaken world now rested on their shoulders. Or at least, on the shoulders of one of them.
Looking down at your robes, you see they're damp with blood and the ocean's spray. In the distance, Fort Joy looms.
What were they thinking, standing against an Eternal? I almost pity the poor, ignorant beasts. Onward now. The sooner Fort Joy disappears from the horizon, the better. Perhaps the Seekers need help manning the ship.
The squirrel looks around the boat, chittering excitedly. Your grip tightens around the blade's hilt. You never felt such rage. These freaks, they are tearing the world apart. They must not live. You are an abomination. A crucified figure blazing with sauce. You hear screams. You are awash with muddled thoughts, confusion, anger, sadness, loathing.
Don't go any further, Godwoken. We need you alive. The ship won't sail. We had orders to search every corner of it and figure out what's blocking us. It's hewn from elven light.
She glances over towards a smouldering pile of ash on the deck nearby. Something...
That was Brendan. When the ship wouldn't answer my call, he touched the figurehead, and it attacked him, without warning. He burned, like he was made of parchment. Nothing. The ship is live wood, that much is clear. But I couldn't communicate with it. The Magister... Just remember what I said, Godwoken. If you die, then this...
I remember this one. His name was Kerwin. His friend's sword couldn't save him, it would appear.
Pray to you for my Seeker brethren. Show us the path to salvation. Hear a prayer. Show us the way forward.
Before you is a towering figurehead carved in the likeness of a dragon. It looms over the bow, its fangs bared at the open sea. There's an odd mark on the side of the figurehead. Battle damage, weather staining. It almost looks like a pattern. Searing pain races up your arm. The ship senses you. It's angry. The pain intensifies. It's spreading past your arm, across...
Ter Sendelius, pray to you for my Seeker brethren. Show us the path to salvation.
The figurehead continues its vigil over the seas. The detailed searing pain races up your arm. The pain in your arm subsides to a dull tingle. The surface of your bones is already blistering. Searing pain races up your... The pain intense.
I warned you, didn't I? Why did the gods choose a fool with a death wish to be their champion? Blessings to all.
Spare me, Gareth. We got what we came for. This is what success looks like.
I won't see that here. We'll hold...
What's-his-face and so-and-so would want us to get this ship sailing before all else.
You know their names. Not a moment longer than we have to. But we're at something of an impasse.
She's mute. We need to free her tongue.
You're welcome to try.
What Gareth means to say is don't bother. Livewood will only move when it wants to. That's right. The ship's made of an elven ancestor tree. What we need is a way to control the bloody thing.
The Seekers, the survivors of us, have been combing the ship from bow to rudder. It hasn't been easy. This place is laced with dark magic.
These Seekers have such a limited skill set.
We lost a man in the search. Malady might not appreciate that, but...
I'm sure the Godwoken will be able to get the ship moving. They kind of like to feel useful, don't they? Hopefully, you'll never have to find out.
Look who we have here.
You were on the ship as well, weren't you? It is quite a tale, I assure you. And the upshot of it all is that I've accomplished a goal on this horrid isle that came quite unforeseen. But of course, I'll give you a moment to let that... You have no doubt heard the tales of certain setbacks that befell me. Setbacks that forced me to leave the... It was then, forced as I was to wander the wilds, that a voice first began to reach me in my dream. But the voice spoke from too great a distance, too faintly to be understood. I searched this island for a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind that can travel the dream world at will, as if it were another realm just as real as... And so I met with Bahara in the sanctuary of Amadia. We raced... It turns out it was that of Brahmos the Wanderer, the greatest and most... He desires that I should meet him, somewhere on Reaper's coast. And meet him I shall. That is where my journey takes me next.
The silent monk leans forward slightly and stares at you straight in the eyes. As you approach, the silent monk puffs a bit of air from between her stitched lips. The silent monk leans from one foot to the other. He seems eager to move. The burly dwarf is distracted by his own facial hair. He thrusts 2 fingers into it repeatedly until he extracts the fire.
2 heads are better than 1, Papa used to say, and he had 3, so he'd know, eh?
He drags a comb through his...
This boat's a treasure. Dallas wouldn't know what to do with her.
Malady says if we can get the ship to move, we can...
All that fighting will be worth less than nothing if we can't get...
I must say, you may not be an Eternal, but you are certainly not as temporary. Personally, I am just glad that I do not have to walk back to Reaper's Coast. Wind travel may be primitive, but it is at least efficient. Livewood? You have taken a dead elf and carved it into a pleasure yacht? I knew you people were barbarians. Well, no matter. Whatever gets me to Reaper's Coast quickly. I have an excavation site to explore. The only treasure worth... I was investigating a site where several artifacts of my... Alas, I was not the only one there. Those red-robed idiots were scurrying about too. They caught me when I failed to correctly respond to their questions. Still, it's good to be on the move again. They simply asked me what I was doing there, and I simply told them to be gone from my lands. I may have used the phrase pathetic mortals. Come to think of it, I may have used damn fools. The faster we leave them behind, the happier I shall be. Well, you see, I have a rather pressing engagement.
The skeleton breaks off mid-sentence as he notices your hand. He pulls out a notebook, flicking...
Physical contact, voice lowered, coil looks. Good heavens. Is this a mating ritual?
Wish I had a clue what I was looking for.
Oh, subtlety be damned! Did you know that some humans spend several hours speaking to a prospective mate before engaging them physically? What a monumental waste of time! No, I have been curious about this for far too long. Let us begin at once.
Wish I had a clue what I was looking for. Wish I had a clue what I was looking for.
Fane grabs your hand and enthusiastically pulls you behind the screen.
Not a thing for spiders of disappointment.
Well, that was most unusual. I mean, I had read all the leading authorities on it, but I didn't think... It's just... that thing you did with your tibia, it was... quite unexpected. A team? What an interesting prospect. You certainly seemed capable in Fort Joy, and a companion on Reaper's Coast could be quite... Very well. I am open to this. I believe you normally spit on your palms to seal agreements, but I seem to lack the fluid and the desire to touch you. I hope a hearty verbal agreement will suffice. Very well, let's be off.
Nothing. Empty as Dallas's heart.
Doing? You creatures with your legs and arms and your opposable thumbs. You always want to steer the ship. You need to trust the ship. It knows what it's doing. It dances to the tune. It goes la 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 la, or something like that. It's pretty catchy, but I can't remember how. In your hands. This is generally accepted amongst creatures like yours. All right. Go to the nose bit of the ship, open the book, look at the markings inside it, sing the song. That's always entertaining for me, anyway.
Where would I hide something important if I...
There's something to these doors I'm not seeing. But what?
The door seems like any door, at least at first. Then you notice it's unblemished wood. There is no knot, no scratch, no dent to detract from its apparent perfection. The wood groans and creaks. A faint finishes. The thud of your fist upon the wood resonates deeper than you'd expected it to. The door is still unmarked. The anguished face... The door is still unmarked, though the memory of the door remains closed. It seems you need more than a password to open it. The sergeant doesn't seem interested in talking to you. She shoots you a disdainful look before turning away. The Seeker flexes her arms stiffly, her joints audibly.
I owe you, Godwoken. Without your help, I'd likely still be a prisoner around here, not guarding Alexander the...
She nods her thanks and immediately winces, laying her hand on the back of her neck.
He must be tougher than he looks, to have survived that fight with you and the others. The wicked ones are always the last to shuffle off to the Hall of Echoes, though, ain't they? I wish. No, the Magisters kept me chained to the bulkhead. Arms held above me head, feet barely able to touch the deck. Now my joints are paying the price. Good luck getting anything out of either of them. Our special guest is out cold, and the other one ain't in much of a talking mood. All right then, just... Hope you find something useful.
Get away from him, sorcerer. That's the divine. Prisoner or not, I swore an oath.
A young Magister paces around the brig. She notices you observing her.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the Divine Eminence vessel, Lady Vengeance. That's all the information I'm giving to any of you lot, so stow your questions. Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the...
The Magister falls silent, but stares at you with unwavering defiance. The Magister's stare hardens into an intense scowl.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the divine...
This is heinously unfair.
I ought to chain you up.
Set sail, for the love of all things. Sooner I am off this carved monster.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the divine...
A young Magister, she notices...
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the divine eminence vessel, Lady Vengeance. Magister Ranley, Corker's mate of the...
The Magister falls silent. There's a shift in the Magister's expression.
I'm a good Magister, loyal. But Dallas, something about her has changed. She's toying with dark magic, like a She had this old book of hymns and incantations. It was only ever in her hands, or else...
You spoke, didn't you? Ha! I knew you would eventually.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate.
Too late for that now, Red. The bell can't be unrung. You spoke, didn't you? Ha! I knew you would eventually.
Magister Ranley, Corker's mate.
Too late for that now, Red. The bell can't be unrung. You spoke, didn't you? Ha! I knew you would eventually.
Magister...
The Magister leans in.
If you ever find yourself face to face with Magisters, you tell them I was tortured. I didn't betray...
You spoke, didn't you? Ha! I knew you would eventually.